Hi, thank you for joining us once again. This week, I'm going to go into more detail about what actually ended on in our video last week, which was, hey, we got the money for our honeymoon, but then yet we have all this extra money, had no idea what to do with it. So this is what I will call us making our transition from receiving provision to giving. So I'll pick it right at our honeymoon. So honeymoon was beautiful. It was great. We didn't lack a single thing. It was incredible. Beyond our wildest dreams. This is the best way to describe it. It was absolutely incredible. And we had more than enough. We didn't lack a single thing. Didn't have to worry about a single thing financially as well. So God blessed us. But get back home after our honeymoon, incredible week. Get back home. And then we see, hey, there's a lot of money left here still after that. We just asked God for just money for our honeymoon, and we have more than enough for something else. But what is that something else? And that's what we were pondering. We didn't know what to do with the money because there was no immediate needs that we had. We were good. We didn't need anything. So we're like, what do we do with this money? Because that's all we asked for was for our honeymoon. So we were just kind of conflicted. What do we do? So my logical thinking first is, open a savings account and just create a savings. Let's create a savings, put it in the savings. But I didn't have peace in my spirit to do that. And I didn't quite understand why. I'm like, it makes logical sense to do that, but didn't feel peace to do that. So we didn't. And I'll be lying to you if I told you I didn't have anxiety over it, having that much money just sitting at our house. And I'm not saying it was like tens of thousands of dollars or $10,000 that we had, but nonetheless, it was thousands. So we're like, there's a lot of money just sitting around here. So like, what do we do with this? But nonetheless, we just tucked it away and we just trusted the Lord. We would soon learn. I couldn't say soon, because even it took me time to figure it out, and God was teaching me this, and even teaching Ashley this, but we would learn later on that God was teaching us an important lesson. It's not enough to receive. There's also something to giving. So we had received everything we needed for our honeymoon. So this thousands of dollars that we received as a result was actually overflow. And the overflow wasn't for us to hoard up for ourselves, which was to throw it in the bank account or whatever. This overflow was intended to bless other people. But we didn't. God didn't tell us this from the very beginning. He didn't, because He was teaching us to understand, hey, it's not just enough to receive. And as the word says, it's better to give than receive. And see, God would teach us this over time. So time was going on, and then needs started to come from different people, church, different people, just different avenues started to come of giving. And mind you, we've actually have tithes to our church. We've given offerings and stuff like that, and we've helped people out here and there in our lives before we met each other, and after the fact, just helping people here, money here and there, and things like that. And I'm not saying that every single need that has ever come up that I feel it was necessarily my job to give to those things. Not that it's a bad to give, but and it was more so the way God would teach me, and as He's taught me going forward, even now, is that to be led in my giving. Because there are needs, but not every need are we called to give to. And it doesn't mean that it's bad to give, but you have to be led in your giving. For whatever God is His own way, we have to be led in our giving. And I look back at that money now and thought, okay, if Ash and I would have given more, let's say for example, for the sake of the argument, we gave someone $1,000, right? But God said, no, you only give that person $500. That extra $500 that we gave to that person that He wasn't leading us to give, that would have affected somebody else that was supposed to receive money. So what if there was another person on this end that needed $500, and now, wait, I gave their $500 to this person, so they have $1,000, and I wasn't supposed to do that. So that's just to reiterate my point of, it is important to be led in your giving, because God has a reason for it. It's not that it's bad to give, even extravagantly, but be led in your giving as well. So God started leading us to people, to things to give to. So we started. It was 100 here, 100 there, and then it started getting a lot. And not to name numbers, to me, it's not important. To Ashley, it's not important. That's not our heart at all. Our heart is that we're just being faithful to the Lord, and that's all we really care about. But just to give you an idea, like I'm talking about $500 at one point. And another point, we were paying for someone's cell phone bill for a period of time. So it's not like God's here, get $50 here or $20 here. No, He's hundreds, hundreds of dollars. And God was teaching us the beauty of giving. And at first, I'll be honest with you, I may have had a struggle with it a little bit. Like, man, that's kind of a lot. But the struggle there was very subtle, and it didn't last very long. Because we started to see the joy of the Lord upon people's lives, and the joy of the Lord that came upon us in giving. So that same joy that we had when we received on doing the money dance on our wedding, at our wedding for the honeymoon, and receiving all the money, we felt that same joy giving to people, blessing people, seeing people's lives being truly impacted by our giving as we were led by the Lord. So God was teaching us exactly what I said earlier. It is better to give than receive. And we never touched the money. And the funny thing about it was, any money I ever received in my life once I became a Christian, and even once we became married, we tithed off of. We always gave God his 10%. We never gave God the tithe. We always gave our tithe. We were faithful to God to give our tithe. But when it came to this money, we prayed about it, and we felt from the Lord not to on this money. And I'm like, what? Not to? Why not give tithe off this money? We felt not to give our tithe off of it. But the fun thing about it was, all those $1,000 that we had, we never hardly ever spent any of it for ourselves. If I had to guess, and I can't remember the figures in my head right now, but if I had to guess, we did spend some of that money on us. It had to have been, maybe, if I have my guesstimation correctly, about 10%. Or if it wasn't 10%, it was less than 10%, or barely a little, maybe even 12%. But nonetheless, around the range of 10%. So over 90% we gave. So that's the beautiful thing about the Lord. We didn't realize at the time he was teaching us the importance of giving. And the importance of not to hoard for ourselves. Hey, I blessed your guys' honeymoon. I give you guys more than enough of what you needed. Now this other stuff that I've given you, bless other people. This is meant for some other people. And God completely changed our lives in an incredible way, seeing how much change that those funds brought to people. And it didn't solve every issue. It didn't solve every problem, but nonetheless it blessed people. Because sometimes we can feel inadequate because I'm like, man, I can't do enough, but nonetheless, something is better than nothing. I challenge you in that. If God tells you to give something, even as like, man, I'm only giving $10, and they're trying to raise thousands of dollars for this cause, your $10 matters. Whatever God calls you to do, it matters, regardless of what you give. And in the Word, it talks about the widow who gave her one mite, which is like nothing. But the Lord says she gave more than the arrogant man who gave out of his abundance, because he had so much money, he just lavished it out. So there's importance in giving what God leads you to give, even when it seems insignificant. And we were faithful to do that because my heart, and me being a fixer, I'm like, man, let's just give them all this, let's just take care of the whole need. But nonetheless, God has a reason why he leads us in our giving, and he teaches these things. So that's an important thing to learn. It's important to learn that God is a giver to us. He is our provider, but it's also important to learn, like, hey, you guys are going to be givers too, and I'm going to teach you guys how to give and who to give to, in what manner that you do it. So there's not one way to give, not one correct way to give. The only one thing I will say that makes it correct is that you're led in doing it. And our lives are changed forever after that experience. So that now, as Ash and I, as God increases us in our finances, we want to give tremendously. Our hearts is when we saw God was putting in us something, embedding something in our DNA that is completely stuck with us. And I truly believe it's going to stick with us for the rest of our lives, which is, God, bless our needs, take care of our needs. And then all the stuff with money we have left, let us give it to people. Let us bless people so that we can not only receive from you, but we can be instruments of others receiving from you. And it's completely changed the way we look at our finances. And the funny thing about it is that the money was there, and there were needs that Ash and I had at times last year in 2017, which was when we gave all this money over the span of that year, from the moment we got married all the way over to the very end of the year. We gave all that money during that year, and there were needs that we had. There are things that we needed, but the beautiful thing about God is like, hey, the natural reaction would be to let's pull from that money, that overflow. But the beautiful thing about God is you're confronted with this question of, do you still trust me? Do you still trust me? And we knew in our hearts, when Ash and I would say that vocally, this money is not for us. This is meant for someone else. So God led us maybe once or twice to use it, and I'm talking about meager amounts. I'm not even talking about extravagant amounts that we were giving to people. I'm talking about small amount. But during those times when we had our needs, it says, will you trust me? Are you still going to trust me? Are you going to look to that, or are you going to trust me? And I'll be lying to you I'd be lying to you if I told you that I didn't sometimes. I'm like, let's just take from that because it's just easier right now because it's stressful, we're feeling a little doubtful, whatever. But nonetheless, God's like, trust me, and we did. And the beautiful thing about God is this: there were times when we could really, really, really use that money. But the beautiful thing about God, as much as He used that overflow of thousands of dollars to faithfully bless and take care of other people, He would in return take care of us still. And he provided in other avenues, used other ways. And I can stand proudly before you and tell you, by the grace of God, we didn't want to use that money out of fear, out of doubt, out of, well, we just need this, so let's just throw this, let's just take a chunk of the money and just throw it at this. By the grace of God, we did it. Though we were tempted to at times. And it's not to say, oh, look how great I am or nothing like that. No, it's to prove a point of God is faithful. He will use you to give to other people even when it doesn't make sense. There were times when we're like, God, we are so tight right now. We are so tight financially right now, God. But yet, you're telling us to give all this money that in the natural we could really use right now. But God, every time when He tells you to give, He will always take care of you in return. So this story isn't just about giving. It's about God's faithfulness. Because as long as we are faithful to Him, He'll be faithful to us. And even in the words, as it says, He's even faithful when we are faithless. Even when we are unfaithful to Him, He is still faithful. Because He can't deny Himself, as Scripture says. So I encourage you, in any way this impacts your life, whether you're like, man, I don't tithe to my church, I always had an issue with that, or well, yeah, God told us one time to give this extravagant amount and I could have really used that money for my bills, but now He's telling me to give this person, and I kind of pulled back because I was a little fearful to do that. I understand that because I've been there before too. But I encourage you. Say, for example, you have a $500 check that you make when you work. That's all you make. For 2 weeks of work, you make $500. And with that $500, it covers all your bills that you need. Well, it'll be a cell phone bill, whatever. And one day, God tells you, give $300 of that. Give $300 of that to this cause. You're like, $300, God, that goes into this, or what have you. Do it. Because see, God is using this as an opportunity. He'll use that as an opportunity, which He did for us. And now in that very story, exactly the example I just brought up, Ash and I have been in that situation many times. But God was trying to show us, trust me. If your provision of the avenue of your provision isn't coming through your check this moment, that means 1, I'm trying to grow your faith. 2, I'm trying to grow your trust in me. And 3, I'm trying to show you that I'm faithful to you. And 4, I'm going to use another way. Exactly like the saying goes is, He'll close one door closes, He'll open another one. So I just encourage you. We've been there, we've given when we really needed, and God has not once let us go hungry, not once let us lack, not once. We have had everything we needed, even when the times when we gave in ways and it didn't make sense to give. Even when our finances were so tight and felt like they were bone dry, we gave, and then He in turn gave to us. And here's another thing. We always got to trick our hearts on this. We don't give so that we get, because that's the wrong perspective and the wrong attitude to have. No, we give because it is an honor to give because of what has been given to us so richly and what's been so graciously lavished upon us because of God's love for us. So I encourage you, as God leads you in your giving, be faithful to tithe to your church and be faithful to give as you are led by the Lord. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.